Hi there. It's Lisa Maxwell. I have not read again. I'm always kind of going on random hiatus. But I am here and we're going to read from the Angel Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. I know that we've all been going through a tremendous amount of change. We just had a really massive solar eclipse, capping off a number of eclipses on the Aries Libra axis that's been going on for the past 18 months or so. All of our eclipses have been in this house of Aries and the house of Libra, where the north and south node are. In Aries, respectively, is where the north node is, and the south node of the moon is in Libra. And these houses are our Aries is our individuality, our ability, our being, our purpose on this earth. It's our actions that we do in our lives. And no matter whether you're an Aries sun sign, moon sign, or whatever, or don't have any planetary placements in Aries whatsoever, don't mistake that ever for you. Oh, I don't have any Aries in my chart. You do have Aries in your chart. The moon goes around through every single zodiac sign constantly through, the course of a month. And so the moon is going to come into Aries, even if you don't have any Aries placements. You're still going to be activated. Aries energy is going to be activated for you, or that first house energy, or it's going to be activated for you. Which anyway, the first house is different, but um, it won't necessarily be Aries for you. But anything that first house energies represent or Aries represents is going to be activated for you because the moon will hit that house no matter who you are. So, and Libra as well, that the same is true for Libra. If you don't have any Libra placement, that doesn't matter. You still have Libra in your chart, and different things show up. So astrology is such a wonderful study. It is a science, and people it's a constantly unfolding science. It's a constantly changing science, which is a little different than other ones that are kind of more regimented and stable. So a lot of people, it makes people a little uncomfortable because it's something that is constantly and always changing, just like we are. So at any rate, Aries and Libra. Aries represents that individuality, what I do as an individual in a nutshell, and Libra represents our relationships. So this is these constant eclipses that we've had have been these thresholds of growth that invite us to show up as individuals but yet be in relationship. And how do we engage again? Act in our how do we what are our actions in our relationships? This is not just to people. I think this was probably one of the discussions I offered in one of the last readings I was able to do before I made my move to a different state. Um, you know, it's our relationship to anything that's long term. Libra is like setting up our long term relationships. You can have a long term relationship with, like I've been having a lot of conversations with Verizon. Verizon has been my cell phone carrier for as long as I've ever had a cell phone. I've never had another cell phone carrier, and I actually have a long term relationship with them. And so how do we like work and navigate and through this relationship, whatever that might be for you? It could be your work, it could be the place where you live, all kinds of things. And in some of the last readings that I did, we were talking about what is my relationship to, and I was saying, like, some people may say, oh well, I don't really belong in this part of the city, but I belong in this other part of the city. For me, belong I belong back living in Rhode Island again. So, and I haven't lived here for 30 years. So, you know what I mean? And a lot of people have asked me about that. They're saying, "Oh, is it great to be back?" I'm like, "You know what? I don't really know. I didn't actually, I was only at the beginning of my adulthood when I moved away from the state. So I never lived in this part of the state before. So it's actually a very different thing. So, my relationship to the way it was when I lived here previously is very different from now. I've gone through a lot of different experiences in the number of years that I have not lived here. I live in a very different part. So how do I now relate to living here in this state? So it's different. It's going to be different for you for different kinds of things. So, you know, but I do have a long-term relationship with this part of the country. My family lives here. So, you know, how does that like now feature in, you know, my engagement in this current iteration of living here? So, you know, that just gives you a different perspective on what, you know, some perspectives on what long-term relationships are and what we're being offered to look at. You know, oh, all the cards start flipping. Um, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go with those. Yeah, whatever, you know, whatever. Yeah, we'll look at the bottom of the deck too, the Chariot. So, you know, whatever that might mean for you. You know, whatever your long-term relationships are. So we have, you know, cards came out already. Competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. This is an action card. Aries is a fire sign, right? This is a fire for 5 of fire. In this particular deck, the Angel Tarot cards. This is a card that is, it's pretty benign actually, as opposed to yeah, and bothersome details. Bothersome details are different from, wow, this is really something and I really need to deal with it. Bothersome details may point you in the direction of something that you do need to pay closer attention to. Why do they bother you? What's actually going on underneath the surface? Um, you know, and it can lead to growth. Fire can either you can grow a fire or you can control it, you know. But if your fire is feeling like it's out of control, then you know what you might want to do is you know, air is something that feeds fire, right? You might need to add a little emotion to the situation, add a little more heart to the situation. How do you feel about things? As opposed to adding more air and adding more headspace, or heady kinds of activities to a situation. So instead of, you know, and adding a bunch of air and wind, which is going to make a fire get out of control. You know, how do you actually feel about something? Add some emotion. So maybe a little water to quell the fire. This is something again that can, it's just, and to maybe not let it bother you so much, like step back from it. You know, again, stepping away from a fire is also a way of controlling how the fire is affecting you, and you know, and or creating actions that are, you know, or maybe creating some kinds of boundaries. You know, space and time is also a really good way to, you know, if you create a boundary around a fire. You know, if you're going to have a fire, you're going to maybe have a fire pit as, or a some kind of a stone structure around a fire in some kind of groundedness. And you know, the second card that came up is the King of Earth. So this is a very individual, you know, the court cards in the deck are, so 5 of fire is going to be the wands in typical tarot. I'll turn them upside down here for you. But the King of Earth is a very grounded individual. This may be you. This may be someone you know, like bringing in a kind of a very grounded counselor is kind of what's coming up for me right now, who is a very grounded individual that may provide some very wise and stable and again very structured kind of advice, or bringing in the kind of, you know, again, the kind of structure can you bring to this situation that would offer you an ability to control those passions. Like, what can you bring in that's going to be a little more, you know, something that's going to actually enriches the other, you know, this is generous, professional, responsible, practical, a successful time, confidently accept opportunities you're offered, the Midas touch. So, you know, this is something, you know, you can do with confidence, you know, bank on your own wisdom. So when we step back and we take perspective and we, you know, go to that kind of 30,000 foot view, this is a very, you know, kingly kind of thing, a very masterful kind of move. So, you know, putting some structure, stepping back, you know, helping things get, you know, settle and get grounded, giving things, you know, their, you know, like I said, a little time and space. This is always a very masterful thing to do. And relax and be like, and taking, this guy's very relaxed. I don't know if you can see how like chill he is and happy. He's kind of like, the King of Christmas not King of Christmas present, but the Ghost of Christmas present is what I'm getting in this kind of those kind of vibe. He's very he's not concerned, and someone who is confident is going and knows that things will work out is that's the kind of that's what we want to kind of cultivate when we encounter this kind of fiery energy. So instead of getting, all hot headed, again, adding too much head stuff, let's go to a more grounded kind of and offer a little structure. Say, hey, listen, why don't we, when we encounter this kind of energy, the structure that can be offered can be, let's just take a little time and space. I appreciate what's going on here. Again, that's adding some feeling, that's adding some understanding, that's adding some compassion. And, I know that things are going to work out, but maybe let's just, put a pin in it for now. And let's just step back and add a little love and care to the process and take a more, thorough, more, measured approach. Things on Earth are, things in the 5D go a little more quickly, things in other dimensions. But we're talking about 3D stuff. And this is the King of Earth is the suit of pentacles in traditional tarot. And and these are things that are happening on the here and now. Well, things on Earth happen a little less quick than in other dimensions. So this is something that, again, taking a more measured approach to something is a way of creating some boundaries. Yes, you're doing something about it, but you're not flying off the handle and then, yes, turning this now into like the Five of Swords, which isn't what we want. So the Four of Air comes up as well. Also have the Four of Air, which again is that more meditation, more meditative type of energy. So time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision. Meditation may provide answers. That's exactly what it is. So these horses are not like, dashing off. They're relaxing. They're like, we're just going to, relax here in this lovely glen, which this king is also sitting in. So instead of flying off the handle, we're just going to take some time here with the information that's come forward, with the feelings, with, whatever information. You may have experienced some information in the wake of this recent eclipse earlier in the week that make you feel like, you need to do something about it and you're causing a lot of conflict, or that conflict is being created. Sure, maybe conflict is being created, but instead of it being, a conflict, it can be like, okay, I sense that when there's some friction going on, friction makes a fire, but, that's fine. Let's take this more measured approach. Let's take our time. That is clearly what we're being offered here. So instead of taking, and this is air, again, going back to adding air to a fire, we can gently blow on a fire to keep the passion going, as opposed to either blowing it so hard that you're snuffing it out, or, blowing it so hard that now it gets out of control and, you're using the mental air, energy. The air suit is actually the suit of swords, which is thought processes, head, mental. Again, going too mental into things. If you're going mental, right? Like that's meaning everyone's kind of going crazy, running amok. We don't want that kind of thing. We want things to be, a nice controlled fire, something with a little boundary, again, a little bit of earth, taking that more meditative approach. And the bottom of the deck is the Chariot. And the Chariot is, so we've got two actually. Whoa. We have, oh, wonderful. Power of creativity, recognition for very high quality work, being a team player. Like these are cards that, oh, Two of Water. Look, a divine partnership. Like these are all and the King of Water. We've got some really great cards here at the bottom of the deck. So if we engage in this kind of approach to this kind of whatever the situation might be bringing up for you, we're coming again. The Chariot is going to be, we're going somewhere, but we don't have to go, our horses are going in, and he's kind of a relaxed, he's got control of his horses. This is managing the mental and the emotional capacities and getting everything, the heart and the mind, to go in one direction rather than willy-nilly. And the Emperor. So this again, this is like a step up from the King of Earth. Like now we're going straight up Emperor. So this is really, great energy if we can employ this kind of approach to what may feel like a conflict situation, instead of getting all fearful and angry and going down that road, like taking something that's taking a little step back, to create that win-win opportunity, because doesn't that sound much better than, again, everybody running amok with their hair on fire? So this is the reading for tonight. I'm going to leave it at that, and it's lovely to be back. I will be coming back more regularly now that I'm settled, and it's lovely to be able to offer you this reading. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put something in the comments or direct message me. I'll be posting this on Facebook. I post a shorter version on Instagram because that's the way that format works. But so that's good to watch, because some things come up when I kind of do a different reading for that. This is the more in-depth reading, which obviously also gives you the look at when the cards are actually pulled. I'll post it to my YouTube account. I'll post all the links in the write-up that I do for everything. And then, yeah, if you want your own private reading, don't be afraid to direct message me for that, or post something in the comments. Interact as much as you can. Again, engagement, because that's the way the algorithm works to get this message in front of the people who need it. And if you know somebody who you're thinking of that could, find this message, whatever I'm offering, whatever is offered here, it would be useful for them and helpful, please pass it, because again, sharing is another way of interacting and getting this message into the people who need it. All right, I thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful night, and yeah, I'll come back with another reading as soon as I'm able. All right, thank you so much.